currently charging at 231 kilowatts. So we have now accomplished the first 100 kilometers, now reached the first 150 kilometers, and I'm a bit astonished, honestly, that I'm likely reaching that Ionity charger with the same state of charge than I did with the EQS and the BMW iX under similar circumstances. So hello everybody, how are you doing? Today is time for one of our next fast Autobahn range tests, and currently we're sitting in the new Kia EV6 GT line, which means this is the all-wheel drive model with 325 HP, 600 Newton meters, and if I'm not mistaken, the 77 kilowatt hour battery. As usual, we're starting to our usual drive. Weather is winter time still. We have something between 0 and 10 degrees. It's a bit windy, it's a bit rainy outside today, but nevertheless we're going to do the test. We're starting, as you can see, at 96% state of charge, so it's not fully full, but it's pretty full. And we will drive on the Autobahn as usual at our speeds at 150 to 160 kilometers per hour on cruise control, so fast driving on the Autobahn but not high speed driving on the Autobahn. And then of course we are going to check how the range is in real life situations like we drive those cars, and in the end of course not only how the range is but how quickly we can recharge once the battery has reached a state of, I don't know, 20 to 30%, where you usually recharge the battery to get to another 150 or 200 kilometers to accomplish our whole trip. So that is electronically limited to 193 or what it was on speedo, which equals 186 on the GPS box. Autobahn is freeing up. Actually, I've already done an acceleration to top speed twice already in the first kilometers. I'm sorry for that, but as said, we always want to reach top speed at least once, and this car is doing 190 even in this windy and very rainy surrounding very safely, and the steering is also very safe at that speed. Average consumption is at 28.7 kilowatt hour, which is of course influenced by the short, let's say, distance we drove, and also the high-speed driving and the wind. From now on we will lock it into 160 kilometer in cruise control and see how the kilowatt hour evolves over time. Just a short walk around to enjoy this wonderful backlight here. The indicators are down here as we're getting an energy drink and are using the restroom. I think the design specifically from the rear is quite interesting. Following the car on the Autobahn is really nice, and also from the front, that front lights look quite aggressive, I would say. So we have now accomplished the first 100 kilometers, almost 100 kilometers, trying to do constant speed of 160, and you can see it outside. It's the worst conditions possible for driving an electric car. I mean, you can just see how much water there's on the road and therefore is also in the air, holding back our car. There's strong wind, I think, coming from somewhere there, which is also not ideal. But nevertheless, we are going to do those tests in the surroundings that are happening. It's 9 degrees outside temperature, it's raining on a Sunday evening, and I want to go home with another, with 160 kilometers on speedo, and that's how it performs then. So we've now reached the first 150 kilometers. Consumption has dropped slightly to 29.8 kilowatt hours, which is, I would say, 2 to 3 kilowatt hour less than we had in the EQS 580 and the BMW iX. Yes, you cannot compare it fully, but still high Autobahn speeds are usually a territory where the BMW and the Mercedes should be good compared to this, let's say, normal compact or mid-size segment. I have locked in the same Ionity charger that I'm always doing, so that is more or less 220 to 230 kilometers after I started. Remember, we also started with 96%, so it was not 100% charged, that car. And I'm a bit astonished, honestly, that I'm likely reaching that Ionity charger with the same state of charge than I did with the EQS and the BMW iX under similar circumstances. Yes, those cars of course have bigger batteries, but of course they're also bigger and yeah, therefore likely have more consumption. And it seems to be that for this sub, let's say 30 kilowatt hour consumption, the 77 kilowatt hour battery is a good match. I'm a bit amazed, honestly. I thought I need to charge before that because we're doing constant speed of 160 for a long time now, which equals average speed of 110 to 115 right now. I think that is quite good. Plus, you can see it, the ambient lighting is quite tempting as well in this car. Good job. So we're now about to reach 200 kilometers on this charge. Right at this moment, consumption has gone up to 30 kilowatt hour again. So it's always a bit below, a bit above 30 kilowatt per 100 kilometers. Yeah, still very amazed by how far you get, because in 18 kilometers we are reaching the regular Ionity charger and will then have about 220 kilometers on one charge at very, very fast driving. And that is not far away from what the EQS 580 and the iX had at this point. We probably reached that charger at about, I think, 12%. And we reached the charger with the EQS and the iX, I think 18% to 20%, something like that, with the same charge, state of charge as we started. So that is really, really astonishing that under real life conditions there's not much in it comparing an EV6 all-wheel drive version, a car for 60,000 euros, to a 140,000 euro car once it comes to the real life range. So we now reached 220 kilometers. Average consumption was 30.4 kilowatt hour in 1 hour and 53 minutes. So pretty spirited and fast driving. I would guess it's between 115 and 120 kilometers per hour average speed, with 8% state of charge. The car already told me to find the next charger, but right ahead of us is that Ionity charger. And of course we don't want to find out not only how far we came, which I already told you was pretty far, similar to the other cars, but how fast it charges up. So we hooked up that EV6 at the Ionity charger. Interestingly, there's not only an ID3 charging here, but also over there, I don't know if you can see it, a new ID bus of Volkswagen. It's still a prototype, but very interesting. And now of course it's we're going to see how fast it charges up. We're starting at 8% and it already blasted through the 100 kilowatt mark. Let's see how far we get it charged up within the next 20 minutes, because that's something, I think that tell 10 to 80% in a bit more than 20 minutes. I'm not sure. This is at least what they're advertising. Let's see if we can get close to that, although of course it's a bit colder right now and the battery is probably not in the perfect temperature range. Currently charging at 231 kilowatts at an Ionity charger, 32 actually. Wow, that is fast. That is even faster than all the cars that we charged before. EQS, iX, Taycan, they never reached those speeds, and that means that within a few minutes we're good to go again. Got a coffee, back at the car. Should be 15 minutes, 17 minutes later we are back from 8% to 63. That is enough for me to get home, because we now got another probably 200 kilometers in the car. I think that's great. Overall, pretty astonished with this architecture here, honestly, I have to say. That's very interesting how close it gets to the German premium rivals.